please come to order. The first thing on the agenda is public comment. Does anyone have anything they want to say?
I'm not aware of what the minutes
Excuse me, could we please have your name?
Steve.
Please, your meeting is started, please, no talking.
Barbara Devon from 65 Packaging Village. I'm not aware of the minutes from the meeting of the 28th of May.
They haven't been passed yet.
Okay. So we're starting right from there. Okay, sorry.
Thanks for the flags.
Yeah.
Back in America, we are. We're back in America.
Update.
That was done today.
Thank you. Oh, what a feeling.
Good job. Nice.
And the flowers at Packaging.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything they want to say?
Steve, do you have anything you want to say?
Meeting?
You mean to tell me nobody here is going to say anything? I'm going to...
Stand up, please.
Stone Lights, I live here. We had, maybe it was 2 years ago, we had the electric company, I believe, come in. And remember they gave like an evaluation, cost effective. I tell you, those fluorescent lights, if everybody used those, it would be so cost effective towards the electric bill for housing. And I tell you, I love fluorescent light bulbs. I think we should try it. And I think it would cut back down on the electric bill, but I'd really like to get those fluorescent bulbs, because that's what I use. So it's just like on a positive note, just a suggestion.
Because we had the energy audit,
Yes.
and
Do you remember?
National Grid came out and they did an evaluation, and they replaced a lot of our lights. Like we got the lights in here for free, but they came through and they replaced different lights. So are you talking about?
Yeah, my apartment lights burned out and I had to replace them with the incandescents again.
Yeah, and the incandescent, in conjunction to the fluorescent light bulbs, I mean, these fluorescent really cut down a lot on the electric bill. I think it's something we should look into.
Are you talking about the light bulbs in like the ceiling
No,
lights?
even for the residents to use in their home if they prefer to, but
they're more money.
But in the long run, would they be more cost effective towards the energy bill, the bill for electric? I mean, I know they are,
But it would be more money for the residents, but it
Well,
would save the housing.
I think we should ask the residents, I know I like the fluorescent bulbs.
And then we have trouble disposing of those because
Yes, she is.
there's an issue around disposing of those bulbs, Sandy, because they're considered hazardous waste.
Yeah.
That's
the
why I
mercury.
saved the bulb you guys gave me and I still have it.
Okay, you know what, Wayne, you can actually drop that off, your maintenance guys will take that.
Okay.
Because they have, they keep all that stuff separate because we have to pay somebody to come and take that. That's
Okay, thank you.
hazardous waste.
Thank you.
All right?
So you're a contractor board, huh?
I was going to say,
Okay.
Almost every recyclable opportunity there, you can return those bulbs in there.
Just 1 minute, please.
From my understanding, the Board of Health is addressing right now. They're going through all that process, recycling issues, because I watch the meetings on TV, and they would be the ones to really ask, where do we get rid of these bulbs?
well, that's what we were just, you probably couldn't hear us, but that's what we were just
Oh,
talking
sorry, we can't hear
to
them.
the director about, is that the Board of Health
Yes.
does do that.
Yep.
And
Yep.
It may not be a cost to us to give them to them where it's costing us now.
Yeah, I thought they were
Something to
providing
look into
recycling.
anyway.
We could actually put a bucket in the trash rooms and label it.
For recyclables?
Yes. Well, that's what I thought they were providing.
I thought the trash rooms originally had recycle bins and trash bins. Back when the original director was here, we had a recycle bin and a trash bin, and we put all the papers and all the plastic in that bin, and the trash people took it on whatever day. I don't know why that changed.
Well, why don't we have Laurie look into that and see whether if we can put them in the, have a recycle bin here, or if the Board of Health will take them.
Yeah, I think my understanding from their meeting was that they were going to provide the recycle bins.
And they never did.
They never,
I mean, we have waste management handle our
Oh.
contract, and we don't separate, like at my house, we separate
Yeah,
the
yeah.
recycle from
yeah.
the regular trash,
Yeah.
but we don't do that here, but that may be something that we can look into.
Yeah.
But even with the recyclables that we have in our private homes, we can't put those kinds of bulbs in because it's hazardous material.
I got one and I wrapped it up in a paper. I don't know what to do with it.
So you know what, we'll take that stuff and we'll have something in the maintenance garage, because they keep that stuff separate anyway, so you can just drop it off with maintenance,
Oh, okay.
and they'll put it aside, and then we'll figure out how we're gonna, maybe the Board of Health will wait till they have that day that they take it out.
Yeah. Recycling day, or they may even have a place up there that maybe the maintenance guy can bring them up and deliver them up to Board of Health. You're gonna talk to the Board of Health and get everything
Yes.
straightened out.
So I'll call the Board of Health and ask them what they want us to do about that. And then we'll look into recycling, and, I mean, it's a good idea. We don't have that right now, but it doesn't mean we can't.
As well as, I think it would be very cost effective if people used fluorescent bulbs for help with those. You know, once we get that issue resolved, where we put them afterwards. You know.
Well, if people are paying for their own bulbs, I don't see how we can ask them to do that. I mean, that's up to their choice. It's, you know, it's not assisted living, like I keep saying, it's independent living.
Right, you could ask.
Like, we ask them to shut the air conditioner off when they go to leave, or shut the TV off when they go to leave.
It doesn't mean they're going
We
to,
could-
they have to.
I put out a memo, and we'll just say, you know, would you please consider purchasing
And they
fluorescent
do
bulbs?
last longer, you don't have to replace them yearly without it. It's a regular
And we'll
bulb.
figure out how to dispose of them.
Can we have one person talking at a time again, please? I think this gentleman over here had his hand up first.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Are they gonna assign parking spots to each apartment? Are they gonna assign parking spots to each apartment?
That's further on the agenda.
That's gonna be on the agenda.
If you wait just a little while longer,
Are
we'll
they
be talking
gonna
about
vote
that.
on that though?
We're gonna talk about it, and hopefully vote on it, yes.
Okay,
Okay, just wait a little bit longer.
yeah.
It's on the agenda. Now you had your hand up.
I was gonna mention Stephen had a question, because I didn't know if you could see his hand raised.
Did
I'm
anyone
sorry.
else want to speak before you do, because you've spoken a couple of times, okay? Just 1 minute. Edie?
Yes. Whoops. Well, I was gonna read this out loud, but now I see the people are here that involved and I'm not gonna, because I need my car to run. I don't know if anybody wants to see that. Laurie has it, and Mr. Holstrom came over last night to me and said thank you. This is about, I'll give it, I made a mess of it, but this is about dogs and the hot pavement that they're made to walk on here, which will burn their pads, and that's how they pant. I didn't know that. It says it right here, it's from Animal People. I can't do anything about it. I yell and it doesn't do any good. I get sworn at. That reminds me, the next time somebody yells at me from Building 7 or any other building, I will call the chief. Is the old truck for sale?
No.
Does the yellow truck belong to Jurgen?
No.
Why does you always drive it? And yes, it's time to take the bittersweet. Wayne came over and saw what has happened since we talked about it before, and Alice came over to take my blood pressure, and she saw it out the window. I showed it to her. There's hammocks now, from one tree to the other, and it's pulling the tip tops of the tree. It's gotta be, you can't wait till November. I don't know why we said that. Could be 4 feet of snow in November, 2 feet of snow in October. You can't wait. They gave me this at the highway. I thought they were being very funny. Yeah, Ken gave it to me, and I said, what are you giving me that for? And he says, well, you're always going around snipping bittersweet down at the school and stuff. And I said, okay, I didn't know you guys could afford it.
Wow.
But, all right. Please, let us save this, well, I was gonna say, and it's time consuming, but so is digging up a garden with a guy that doesn't know how to take care of it. It's all rotting because he wets it every day. He doesn't know any better, but that took time for Omar, poor Omar. He gets all the crap to dig the thing. He did. I like him. I think that's all except I can't remember where I was.
Okay, thank you, Edie. We have.
Yeah, well, that wasn't 5 minutes.
Oh, and you know what, Edie, when you had brought up the birds and feeding the birds, I'm going to put out a memo about that too.
I don't feed the birds.
No, you had complained that people were feeding the birds.
Well, because possums come at nighttime looking for that stuff, believe me, and skunks.
Yeah.
There was one out back a couple weeks ago, and I was ready to take the dog out, and I said, I don't want to do that.
Now, the other thing you mentioned to me was in the hallways outside the residence doors, they have floor mats. That's actually their property. The housing authority doesn't provide
No,
mats.
the rugs that were there when we moved in. Package Hog's got beautiful ones. You come in, Jerry and I used to shake them out.
We put our own in.
Go something from
And the
housing.
laundry looks like
Oh, yeah.
hell.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that.
We have, and then our regulations, it says
there when you
walls
moved in,
and the
Paul?
salt halls when we clean it.
But the mat, if it,
The big brown mat.
is it the
Yeah,
mat
that
you're
was
talking
their
should
one.
come in the
Oh,
apartment?
It's a bit.
Where's
Ours
mattress
looks
so
ours
old?
looks
One
awful.
at a time,
That's
please.
filthy too. The one we have. Been there all these years.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
so you know what, I'll look at them and see if we can replace the one, you're not talking about the ones outside somebody's apartment, you're talking about as you come in the door.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, the entry,
Yeah.
exit door
You
mat.
have to give them the last rites.
Yeah. All right, was that all?
And the laundry, the thing is crying. It's got wet so many times.
Okay, we needed to replace those in the laundry, I knew that.
Yeah, oh, that's good.
Okay, you had your hand up for a second time. I'll come back to you, okay?
Yes.
Would you give your name again, please, just for the record?
My name is Barbara Guimond from Packagug Village, and I'm concerned. I want to have recycling, the cans and papers, but I'm concerned about people not washing them out, which would attract critters. And I'm also concerned about our laundry area down at Packagug, because it's a nice area, but some people just don't take care of their clothing. They leave it in, sometimes overnight. They leave it in the dryer overnight. There's, at one point in the front loader, we would have feces that was found in the rubber mat around. That has been taken care of because the individual is no longer here. That, we assumed it was a particular individual. But also they just don't take care of the water, and so now I walked over there one day and it was liquid soap, not the soap suds, but the pure liquid soap, which is very hazardous for falling, if you slip in it. And so I grabbed some paper towels when they're there. People, you think that they're cheap enough to be able to buy, but they disappear.
Yes.
On the washing machine topic,
Can you give your name again, please?
this is Ray Looney. I'm Ray Looney, Stoneville Heights. The washing machines at Stoneville Heights, the last time I used them, now I don't know if it's changed since then, but they would wash the clothes once, drain halfway, and then refill.
Right, you're right, Rick. That's been changed. We've actually they did that for water conservation. We were required to do that, but we've actually had Ian put it back the way it's supposed to. So it actually is getting the full, we're not conserving water, just so you know.
No, I mean, yeah, that was my comment. I didn't care about the conserving of the water. I was just.
Well, we were kind of concerned. We were kind of concerned about that. But that's why. And the Board of Health approved it because we had complaints about that in the past, and the Board of Health came in, and there wasn't an issue with it, but we've actually had it changed so that the tub fills up completely and then drains out, like it would at my house, same kind of a situation.
And then it drains out completely and refills with new water. Okay, thank you. That was my only concern.
Yes.
Sandy, Stoneville Heights. I'll stand up. In regards to the community garden, no disrespect, Edie, but I had plants there also myself. Many tomato plants that I shared with the whole community.
I did as well.
And you did too. First of all, that's supposed to be a vegetables only. And I stopped planting tomatoes in that garden, basically because I was being harassed about how I should go out of the plants, or like you had just mentioned, there's a man out there right now with vegetable plants. I don't think anybody should be told how to take care of their vegetable plants.
I've actually had a pepper from there, and it was quite tasty.
No,
Yeah.
Frank should have told him.
I think
He's
that's
the
an
one
issue
that wanted the
between.
garden.
I think it's an issue between tenants.
Please.
I don't think that's an issue. I think that's just an issue between tenants that, nobody has any business to tell another resident when they should go out of their garden, as well as that is supposed to be
A community
vegetable garden only, and it's half flowers.
It's a weed garden.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything they want to say before we go on to the meeting? Yes. I'm sorry.
She has a hand up.
Just a minute. Alice is on the board. She gets to speak next.
Regarding fluorescent lights, many people don't like them because fluorescent lighting is not like incandescent. In fact, incandescent light is a straight beam from the bulb to whatever it lands on. Fluorescent lighting is many short lights. It's a spurt of light. It's not a continuous stream of light. And many people have become ill because of that. It's like a continual flashing, only it's so minute that you're not really aware of it, but it's there and it does cause some people problems.
Thank you.
Well, I think if we give people the option.
I can do whatever I want.
You had your hand up back there?
Yes,
Your name, please?
Paul Tucson, apartment 31. Lord, this is the lorry. Did you check on that? The door lock thing? From the state?
And there wasn't anything.
They didn't say anything to you?
Nope. But I can call again. I can call somebody else. The person that I called said they were not aware of any regulation that requires us to lock the
Yeah,
doors.
because I got a letter right here that
That
says...
says different?
Yes.
Okay.
This is from the state.
Okay.
The yellow.
It's a security entry door, 105 CMR 410 4.480. Every entry door of a dwelling unit shall be in good repair, capable of being secured against unlawful entry, and shall be fitted with operating locking device. It doesn't say you have to lock it though.
Right.
No, it doesn't.
It says unlawful people. People come into the
It
building.
says secured against unlawful entry and shall be fitted with operating locking device. It does not say you have to lock it. It just has to be there.
All right, let me call the state, let them come down.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, just wanted to show you that.
I appreciate it.
Like last time we had someone in the building and weren't even supposed to be in the building. How do you stop someone when the doors are open? Well, that's my point of view.
Thank you.
I have a question regarding Barbecue Mine from Pakistan Village.
Okay.
I have a question regarding that survey that we did regarding locking of the doors. I understand that it took in everybody, Stoneville, Pine Brook and Packachaw, and that the vote was very low on who wanted it locked at all times and who didn't. We have a perfectly good security system. I would appreciate my front door being locked. It is not. Some people don't want it locked, but
Can I just say, well, that's one of the things I'm going to no, we already
No.
discussed it last week. That's right.
I would appreciate it being locked. We have some individuals that I would not want in my hallway. I come and go, and sometimes it's later in the evening or at night, and I wouldn't want to find somebody in the hallway. I can see if somebody's sitting on the porch and it's unlocked, but I came home at 9:15 last night. It was not locked. Sometimes I come home at 9 and it's locked. Okay, if I come in at 8, I consider that I'm in for the night, I can lock that door. But then other people that come in don't appreciate that I've locked it.
The survey that was conducted, we went with the majority of what people wanted, and that's how the board voted.
But they all, excuse me, sorry, they all don't have the security system. We have a lock and we have a bell. And if you want to get in touch with somebody, you buzz it. Some people don't like somebody buzzing somebody else's door. Well,
Yes,
That was looked into and a survey was done and it was overwhelmingly to leave them unlocked. I mean, there's gonna be some people that don't agree with it, but you're doing it as a whole community in a vote, not 5 or 6 people that aren't happy with it. I mean, that happens on whatever we do and whatever you vote on. There's always gonna be a few people that don't agree with it. But I don't know your name, but if he's saying there's a state law that proves that that door should be locked, we'll look into it. But as of right now, we don't have the facts or information, and what the director has done, did do the survey,
Yes.
did it in the right manner, and overwhelmingly voted to keep them open. So I think at this time, they'll stay open because that's the way it was approved, unless proven different. You know, if he comes back from the state and it says these doors have to be locked, such and such code saying under what code it is and everything else, and saying that we must do it, that's different. But as far as that wording goes on this paper right now, that isn't significant to say that.
okay. But when I go to the doctors and they ask me if somebody's hurting me, or I say the only problem is I'm fearful when I come in at night that somebody might be in my hall because the door hasn't been locked.
No, I perfectly understand what you're saying, but I'm saying, you know, this is a community of many.
I understand.
And it's dependent living again.
I understand.
So sometimes our hands are tied too, you know? But we have to go by the law.
I understand.
That's what I'm saying.
I apologize for having to leave the room, but I was expecting the call. And I didn't hear the conversation, but Ms. Martin had raised the issue about whether or not what the results of the policy, the results of the
Wayne answered
survey
that
board.
one.
Did you want to discuss that?
I already did it.
Because it was
I
pretty,
discussed everything.
of course you did.
Well, I mean, to that we did.
No, but they
That we
were
already did.
overwhelmed. I thought it was pretty well, the response was pretty high for most developments.
And that's what I explained to her, and she had no problem with it. So,
Okay,
I mean,
all right. I apologize.
and
Just wanted to
I
make
forget
sure.
this, the guy in the back had made a statement about the state, and I said, if you come back saying that we must do it on a code or something, and if we need to do it, we'll do it. But as of right now, the community as a whole voted to leave them open.
And mess I made.
Yeah,
Just one question, I was wondering, the letter that the gentleman brought forward,
yeah,
that was from the state of Massachusetts, would that apply
Can we
to
have-
5,000?
can we have a copy of that, please?
Sure.
Okay.
But
It gave the CMR, it gave the number.
Right, it was a state regulation, but I don't know whether that, it did apply.
But it did not say, no, it
No,
did not say that you had to lock
It has to be able to be
Right,
locked,
but
and
you
the
don't have to
mechanism
lock
has
it.
to be
Right.
operating properly.
Burns her feet.
but you don't have to lock it.
Right, no, I got that, but I just wasn't sure. Even
So if they come back and say we have to lock it, then they'll be locked.
Right.
Ask a question. I want to ask Wayne, do you have a garden?
I'm sorry, this,
Oh.
the woman in the back was next.
I just wanted to make mention that if the doors should have to be locked, we also have people that are handicapped in wheelchairs. And I think it's going to cause a hardship, especially in the wintertime, for them to gain access to the door, have to unlock the door. I mean, I see Steve right now. I mean, it's difficult for him to have to, maneuver the wheelchair to the door. And I think it's going to be tough to have to take the key, unlock the door, especially in the wintertime, and then he has to open that door and fling it open to get access into the hallway, let alone then opening his door again. So we also have to think in terms of, unless it's a law, the handicapped people have a difficult time getting into the accessing the entryway as it is.
And the lot might be frozen in the winter.
And maybe winter, yeah, so,
Right?
yeah. I mean, that's just my opinion for the handicapped,
I believe now we need to move on to our business meeting. We've had this comments for almost half an hour. We're 3 minutes shy. So I think we need to move on to the business because we do have a full agenda.
Bernadine, there's somebody.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't
That's
see
all
her back there. She hasn't had a chance to talk at all.
No.
My name is Bernadine Robinson, and I want to know who has a key. Does the post office have a key, the fire department have a key, the police department, and those who answer our life alert? We can leave our apartments open, but we can't leave, if we can't leave the main door open, they wouldn't have access.
Okay, so what you want to know, Bernie, is who actually can let you in.
Outside here
Okay.
would
so
have a key,
I have a key to everything, maintenance has a key to everything.
but that, we'd have to call you.
We have a Knox box on this building and on the maintenance garage, and there's a full, it's locked. The only one that has access to it is the fire department. They inspect them annually, we just had them inspected, but there's a full set of masters in that Knox box. So when the fire department responds, they can get into your apartment.
Oh, okay.
So they can get into the building, but they can also get into your apartment. And those boxes were just checked last month when we did our inspection to make sure that the keys that are in there are actually the keys that are going to unlock your doors. So in answer to your question, the fire department would have to give access to the police department if they don't call us, the fire department can get in.
All right, thank you.
Okay?
Now, we do need to move on. I know Edie wanted to speak again and you wanted to speak again, but we really need to limit the time. Okay, because we have a big agenda to go through. If you still have questions or you have comments, please come to the next meeting,
Oh, that's not.
okay?
I want to know about are you going to do it or what?
You and I are going to take those clippers that the highway department gave you, and we're going to take a walk. Me and you.
You don't have to walk Wayne for. Wayne knows what I'm talking about.
Well, if it's necessary, I'll take a walk with you too. How's that?
Thank you. He can bring his own clips. Actually, we have plenty of clips.
I'm not fooling when I see trees come down.
No, we're not, but we do have to move on, please, okay? The next item on the agenda is to accept the minutes of May 28th, 2013 board meeting. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Do we need a second?
Well, I'm not familiar with that. Do we have a copy?
Okay.
Yes.
All in favor? Oh, we got a discussion.
No, I heard Ms. Guimard ask about a copy of the minutes, but they're not public until we vote on it.
Right.
That's right, and I explained that we hadn't voted on the
Oh, yeah.
Who seconded it?
Just good. Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes of May 28th? Vote number 2, to accept the minutes of June 25th, 2013 board meeting. Those,
No. I'm still working on those.
all right, so we'll have to put those off
Make a
until the
motion
next
to
meeting.
put on hold till our next meeting.
Could I get a copy of that meeting also,
Need a
please?
second? We need a second on this meeting.
Second.
All in favor of postponing the vote on that till the next meeting?
Aye.
Barbara, I'll send you the meeting minutes from May 28th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. The report on vacancies.
We don't have any vacancies.
Fantastic. I think maintenance and the staff in the office are doing a wonderful job about keeping the apartments clean and ready for new tenants as soon as they're empty, so that we don't have a long wait to wait, so that people that really need housing are getting it. So I really appreciate that from both the maintenance and the office staff.
Oh, can I just explain one thing?
Yes.
When I say there are no vacancies, that doesn't mean that there aren't apartments that are empty. So you might see somebody has moved out and the apartment is vacant, but they may have paid the rent for the month, or I have somebody leased up and hasn't moved in yet. So when I say there's no vacancies, you might see that there are apartments open, but they're not available. Okay?
Okay, discussion and vote on the public comment. I'm just going to find it. Want to take a minute to this one?
Yep.
Too much for Does anyone have any comments on this from the board? Just the board?
On what?
On policy. What I'm asking about is we are considering a public comment policy as a board. And the board is deciding whether we want to accept this or make changes to it or what we want to do before it's made public. I mean, it is public, it's a public meeting. You want me to read it? All right. It is the intent of public comments to allow any citizen an opportunity to bring forward items of concern or questions to the board's attention in an effort to provide fair access to all citizens and allow the board time to conduct the business of the Auburn Housing Authority in an orderly manner. Public comment shall be scheduled as follows. Following the call to order, there shall be a public comments item. 1. The total time allotted for public comments in this section may not exceed 30 minutes. However, a majority vote by the board may extend this period. 2. An individual's time shall not exceed 5 minutes. A majority vote by the board may extend this period. Prior to adjournment, there will be a second opportunity for public comments. This session will be scheduled as follows. 1. The total time allotted for this session shall not exceed 20 minutes. A majority vote by the board may extend this period. 2. An individual's time in this session shall not exceed 3 minutes. A majority vote by the board may extend this period. Any individual item requiring more time shall be scheduled as an agenda item for the next board meeting. Does anyone want to make a motion to this effect, to accept this?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
I second it.
Second. Okay. All in favor? Aye.
I just wanted to say, under discussion, but I just wanted to thank Ian to help me with getting this set up and
Thank you,
doing
Ian.
such a great job.
Yeah.
It was a hard thing to do, but we worked it out, and I want to thank her for her help.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Next thing is discussion and vote on solicitation policy. Do you want to fill us in on that, please?
Okay, we had a problem at Packagug Village with solicitors. And one of the residents called her daughter. Her daughter called the police. The police came up and checked the individuals that were soliciting for the free phones. And they went and
Freezing up there.
the only thing they didn't do was have a permit issued by the police department to solicit. So I looked back through, and we actually have a solicitation policy from 1985 that requires people to report into us. But there's actually a law on the books, this Walker versus the Georgetown Housing Authority. We can't prevent anybody from soliciting on this property. We cannot. The Georgetown Housing Authority was sued for trying to do it. Okay? It's a First Amendment right that people have. The police department can require them to get a permit, and then the police department can actually verify that they're who they are and whatever. But the housing authority can't tell these people that they can't come on our property, because you have, as residents, have a right to have a politician, have a Girl Scout, have anybody full of brush. Do they still do that?
Trick-or-treater?
Trick-or-treaters? Are you serious?
You can have trick-or-treaters that still live lights?
Right, because you have the right to have that information. We can't deny you your First Amendment rights by putting a stop to it.
Wow.
The only thing I'd ask is, do you have a lot of that going on, or
Well,
is
we
it just
didn't.
minimal, or?
We've never had trick-or-treaters here at Stoneville Lights.
Excuse me, this discussion is just with the board, please.
I apologize.
When you want to
I'm
speak
sorry.
after, when we have citizens' comments at the end, you may speak then.
Sorry.
I think people assume because of this policy in the past that, that we don't allow it.
Right.
But in actuality, we can't prevent it. So, my thoughts on that were, if
Yes.
There you go.
we can put this, have a sheet where a resident requests the housing authority to place these on their door, and if you don't want a solicitor, well, here you go. But that's the individual resident's choice, and they're going to have to sign off in order for maintenance to put this on.
Does the law permit that, to do that?
Well, it's their own door. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there used to be one on the front door, is that gone?
I hope so.
It would have to be on the individual apartments.
Oh, I know it used to be, it used to be there.
But I thought the last time we put a new sign, we took it off.
Wait, do you want to say something?
No. I'm all set.
No, it's gone.
There used to be one on, building one, apartment one, but it was taken down a long time.
So the only thing I figured I could do was put out like a release, and the resident can decide whether they want solicitors, and if they don't, then we can put this, and hopefully the people can
Read.
read.
All right, so you need a new policy? Did you write a new policy for that?
No,
I don't need a policy.
No, well, we probably should do
I think
something
we
about
should.
the one we have.
I think we should bring it up at our next meeting so we can set a
Absolutely.
policy
No, I think we
for
should.
solicitation.
Well, what I was going to say is just say that they can solicit, except for those houses that have no solicitation on them. Yes.
Given that you have an agenda item for this, would you want to rescind the policy that's currently on the books?
Yes.
So I would make a motion to that effect.
Second.
All in favor?
I
Thank you. ma'am. Okay, the next thing.
Oh, what do you want me to do about these?
If people, well, then I think they need to sign for them so that,
Well, I'm gonna make up like a form.
right. Could we wait till the next meeting to do that?
Well, I'm gonna put it on one woman whose daughter
Right.
complained.
Okay, but we should bring it up
We
probably
should
next
have,
meeting.
we should have a formal policy
Yes.
on the books.
Yeah.
All right, who's gonna do it?
I can do it if you want me to.
All right, so,
Word of a policy for our next agenda.
yep. And these you can just, these are pretty legible, right? I mean,
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I can read it.
well,
Well, that's good. That's good, yeah.
Well, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
I wasn't being sarcastic.
No,
Well, nobody
we
said
understand
you were.
that.
No, that's fine.
That's good. The next item is discussion and vote on designated parking.
now with this, there's another one. We do not have designated parking spots right now. So what we did was we called other housing authorities in the state to find out whether they had it or not, and if they did, if they had a policy. A lot of them don't, some of them did. I'd say the majority of them don't, but that doesn't mean that we can't. So I included in your packet the responses that we received from the different housing authorities. They said it's a nightmare to manage. Like they had it and they wish they didn't, kind of a thing, because say Steve lives where he lives, how are you going to determine where Steve parks? I mean, anybody with a handicap placard can park in any spot unless it's a fire lane. That's the law. So that anybody that comes on this property with a placard or a plate can park in any spot on this property, whether it's a designated apartment or not. So say the handicap spaces that we have available are taken, somebody comes in, they're gonna park in that spot, and legally they have the right to do it. Do you know what I mean? And then how do we determine, like if you live in apartment 1, how are we gonna determine where you're gonna park? Do you know what I mean?
There's only so many designated spots.
Right, we have plenty of parking spots, because I actually counted them. We have plenty of spots. We have plenty of handicap spots because technically you can park anywhere. Where it gets sticky is a lot of the buildings don't have parking right in front of the building. So the people are gonna have to, like the people that live in the 30s and the 40s, they might not necessarily have a space right in front of their apartment. So, I don't know what to tell you.
I have one question about, what about cars that have been like abandoned or sitting in a parking spot that's been there for a few years and not being run, or
We don't have anything
no
that's been there.
registrations, no nothing, stickers or anything?
We have one, and we're working on that.
Oh, you have one?
We have one. It's a residence vehicle. He's disabled, and he's unable to drive his vehicle, and we're in the process of getting the vehicle off the property because technically it's unregistered right now.
But you only got one, so it's
We
not
only
like
have
a
one,
big
so
deal.
it's not like we
Okay.
have a bunch of vehicles. We don't.
Right.
We have
No,
one.
I just wanted to ask for my
No, we don't.
own,
Yeah, that's good. Good question.
No.
so I know.
You have to wait till the end, please.
So we don't have a lot of vehicles.
Abandoned.
Right. So you just need to decide what you want to do, but this is how other housing authorities addressed it. They didn't advise that we do it because it's very, very difficult. And then if Sandy lives in her apartment and then we put her apartment on the ground, then she no longer has a car, then
Yeah, it's kind of hard to designate.
then it's like, what do we do then? Like, who gets her spot? She still lives here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. no, I
So who
understand.
gets her spot? And then if somebody comes into the property and parks in her spot, Sandy's gonna go out there and tell them they need to move their car.
Yeah.
We just don't have anybody to police this either.
Yeah, it seems like
So
it's too difficult.
It's going to be there and police it. It's very difficult to police.
I mean, it would, I
You'd
think,
have to call the police probably to get it straightened out.
and they won't because it's private property.
Right. Yeah.
I just want to say, I appreciate all the time and obviously took to do this. What I didn't appreciate was getting 205 pieces of paper at 2:15 yesterday afternoon. I frankly didn't have time to read all of this. I did read some of them. I've always thought that there should be assigned parking spaces because it does cause problems. And I know from working here that when a new tenant would come in, people are creatures of habit. And when a new tenant comes in, they don't know where to park. They're new, and they're told they can park. There's no assigned parking. And I've seen myself some nasty notes that people have left on a new person's car.
Bobby Johnson.
Horrific notes. Really terrible things that I couldn't imagine anyone would write, let alone an elderly person could write. But I've always been an advocate for assigned parking myself, and I had read a couple of these. And one suggestion was, locating parking spaces as close as possible to each building. Now, you talked about the 30s and the 40s. There are handicapped apartments in those buildings. So not only can a mobile person not park near those buildings, a handicapped person can't park near those buildings either. I think that we need to take some time. I'd like an opportunity to read all of these and come up, see if there's some. And the other issue is, there used to be a part of the parking lot that had signage designating it as visitor parking. We don't have it anymore. And from what I've heard, I'm at the senior center every day, and from what I hear, there's a lot of people, home health aides, company, whatever, parking very close to the buildings. And I think maybe it would help if we could consider returning a designated part of the lot for visitors, and at least keeping the home health aides, the young women that are coming here to do your laundry, your housekeeping, your food shopping, those sorts of things. They can certainly traverse the parking lot without difficulty, and I think it would help. I'm not saying it's the answer to everything, but I think it would help if part of the parking lot was designated for visitor parking.
Wayne?
I'm not on the issue of parking. I think there's a little more work to be done, and I just want to say I was kind of disappointed because I didn't get my packet until late last night.
Well, none of us did. I was up till
And, yeah,
midnight
no,
reading mine.
But I would like to, most of us were because we got it so late. But the thing is, if there's some kind of policy or something, or some way we can have the packet like a week in advance, so we'll have plenty of time to go through what we need to do, or if we have any questions we need to get resolved through the chairman or the director or something before we come to the meeting. Because, I mean, to get it like this, it's rough. It's not good.
And you know what, Wayne, I understand it, because when I did it, that's why I put like the discussion, because I knew that you were getting material. I still have parking things coming in from places that we called that didn't respond back to us right away, so there actually are additional things coming in. And I think if I could draw out the parking lot, do you know what I mean? Kind of make a map of what we have for parking right now, and kind of plug in where the handicap spots are. And then you can look to decide where you want to put the visitors. Because, I mean, what Ann is saying is true. I mean, some people are unbelievable with the notes that they've left on people's cars. And it's not even just, it was new people, but it wasn't even just the new people. You know, I mean, and then they get into a confrontation with them.
I
understand
what you're saying about the parking. I understand what you're saying, but, and I'm not just basing this on the parking. I'm basing this on us getting the paperwork and a little more in advance, so we can really get into it when we want to look at it. In other words, I couldn't get through half. Well, I got to maybe a little more than half of it last night, but I didn't get through all of it. And I think we should have ample time to be able to look at our packets before we come to the meeting.
And like this, we just got this.
Right, that's the one.
Unfortunately, this was short.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If there's something, I'm not saying,
I knew that.
you know,
I didn't know it was on the agenda.
you're gonna have something come up one that week
Yeah.
or a half a week or whatever. That's understandable. But to have the whole packet come all at once like we got now,
What do you do with the other boards? When do you get it?
Friday or Saturday before the meeting.
well, the school committee's a week. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I get my packet.
Actually, it was-
Friday or Saturday before the meeting on Wednesday.
It was short of what we voted and we had it
So if you get
addressed
it-
for a week. But if something, I mean, you get a chance to look at all that paperwork prior to, that's fine. If you get something that you need to bring to a meeting, well, you bring it to the meeting, but you've already looked at all this other stuff, so you have ample time either to sit here or the people that come early can look at what you are adding.
Right. No, I
You know what I'm
understand what you're
saying?
saying. Do you want it by Friday?
I would like it by Friday.
Definitely. If that's,
Normally, no, I must say in Lori's defense, that
I'm not
normally
even
we
making
do
a
get
defense
it.
out of it, I'm just
No, but I just
saying.
want to say, normally we do get the packet sooner than we did, especially if there's that much material. Because
Sometimes
there's not always that
sometimes-
much material.
Right, well, I'm just bringing it up because I think we should, and that's
Right.
nothing for
No.
or against Laurie. It's just, I think the
No.
committee should
I didn't take it
have
that
more
way.
time with it, that's all.
So,
Yes.
could we postpone a decision on the parking until the next meeting?
Just make a motion.
I'd make a motion to that effect.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's good.
And I'm kind of.
Sure. Well, we
Yeah.
want to make sure we
Okay.
do the right thing, and so we
No, no, I-
take our time.
Well, I had a
Right.
complaint, so I put it on, but I knew, and then we were trying to get the information from the other housing authorities to see where they were at.
Right. No, I
You
understand.
know, and it was just, it was overwhelming. And I knew that when you got it, it was gonna be, but, no, I understood. But if we get the information out by the Friday before the meeting, because I have to post it on that third,
All
yeah,
right, so, yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah, that should be fine, it'll just
okay.
give us enough time.
So Friday before, and then if anything comes up beyond that, then you'll get it.
Just add it, right, that
Yeah.
day.
Okay.
Discussion and vote on the executive director's evaluation of contract.
I move that we pass it as it is.
Can I have a second on that? Discussion.
With all due respect, At least twice, if not 3 times since our last meeting, Ms. Brennan has provided us with information about various types of review forms. And I had asked you, Madam Chairman, if we could have a meeting to discuss the format for how the review would be done and a contract, and you declined. And you told me we would discuss it today. So I took that to mean that we were going to discuss the manner in which we were going to conduct the review today.
Well, the form that came out was in the packet.
But there were
Fill out.
No, there were different types of forms that were given prior to that. We didn't decide on the type of format we were going to do. We hadn't decided on that.
I understand what you're saying, but as far as that goes, as far as valuation, but didn't you have a meeting discussing contents of the contract, whether the committee wanted to change something or not?
That's
either.
what we're discussing
Well,
now.
and I noticed in the material that we got last night, the 205 pages, that, one of the things was a copy of the email you just got from Courtney Curran at DHCD yesterday, identifying that, yes, in fact, you can negotiate a contract. It is subject to review by legal. I mean, that just came in yesterday. The date on that email was yesterday.
I had a conversation with her, I asked her to put it in writing, and that's what she
Right.
sent me.
So to me, we need to decide on what are we going to do for a contract, and what are we going to do for the manner of the review. I mean, one of the things that the last meeting was stated to us was relative to goal setting. Then there was, with that last package that we got a week or so ago, there was the rating system, which I rather liked, and there was also a PowerPoint presentation with suggestions in it on how to conduct a review. But we haven't decided a timetable or how we're going to do these things. And that's why, respectfully, that's why I asked you if we could have had a posted public meeting before today so that we could have determined that timeline and determined the method that we were going to utilize. And that's my problem. And that's why that's why I wanted to talk about this in a board meeting before today. How are you going to conduct a review?
I didn't have any trouble conducting mine.
We don't even have a process established for how we're going to do it. If you watch the way the town manager's review was done, they set a timeline for that review. And she too had a numeric rating system. And what they did was there was a self-evaluation based on the subject matter in that rating form. There was a self-evaluation prepared by the town manager before the individual selectmen did their rating of her. And that self-evaluation was distributed to each person ahead of time before they did their own rating on the person. For example, how would we know what Ms. Brennan has done for budgeting, for example, if she doesn't tell us how for each one of those rating categories that we have to rate her in, she needs to tell us what did she do to comply with those sections.
It's obvious in all the reports that we get all the time.
But it isn't. It isn't to me. How did she she has no goals. We don't know, are we going to set goals? And typically what the selectmen did,
I think you have goals, Lori.
excuse me, but what the selectmen did, after the self-evaluation was done, then the selectmen did their individual numeric rating. Those were collected by the chairman, and the chair and the vice chair met, assembled those numbers, figured out in each category, and what the overall numeric rating was, and then the chair and the vice chair had a meeting, because it was not a majority, the chair and the vice chair had a meeting with the town manager in our case with the director, to go over the substance of that review. And then there was a public review. Based on the numeric overall rating with individual comments by board members, not each board member saying what they did on the color of the dress they wore today. That's a format, that's a layout, that's a plan. What are we going to do? That's what I'm trying to understand.
That's why I put discussion in.
The school committee does it the same way, but the chairman doesn't.
Excuse me, she had her
Alice, sorry.
In a town, you've got to do these things. This is governed by the state and by the federal laws. The whole thing is done state and federal, which is different than the towns. They have set up their rules. They have made the policy. they have made out they're responsible for the contract, and they have done it and on time. 5-year contracts have been done by this board before in years past, and I see no problem with a 5-year contract. She was given a 3-year contract when she started so that we could evaluate her, and she has been evaluated by what we see and how we live, because we've got 2 residents on the board, and we have seen the improvements and everything else that have gone on. This is not a town meeting where you drag in all the people from every board that's there. It's done by the state and federal, and I certainly don't want to have to drag in a bunch of people from the state or from the federal to get into this discussion. I think that's it.
Wayne?
This board has the authority to do so, to look into the contract, to change things whether they want to or don't want to. I'm not saying you have to change anything, but you're wrong. This is not done by town meeting. Town meeting is not done do the contracts. The selectmen do contracts, the town manager does contracts, the school department does contracts. We as a board have the right and the authority to change the contract. We had a meeting, a training with the lawyer here. We asked the lawyer the exact question I had asked her straight out, can we do it? And she said, yes, we can do it. You may agree with a 5-year contract, Alice, but what you're saying is incorrect. It is not right. We have the right. We should have had meetings prior to this to discuss this as board members. You should have had evaluations. You haven't had in over 3 years. You have not done any. You want to talk about right, that's right. If you do the things the way they're supposed to be, every board member, you're a board member as well as I am.
Excuse me.
You have as much right.
Excuse me.
Okay. You're excused.
You're raising your voice at Alice.
Okay.
That's
sorry.
abuse. Please do not
What do you
do
mean
that.
abuse?
And do not badger her.
I'm just telling you she's wrong. I'm not
Do
badgering
not
her.
badger.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, you're out of line.
No, I am not. You will not treat her that way.
I'm not. I'm just telling her. I'm just telling the way it is. It's factual. You want to look at the laws on it, you look at it. But what right is right, Alice. I mean, you may grant and want 5-year contract, that's fine. That's your opinion, but this board has a right to change a contract if they want.
If they so vote.
If
they have
they're-
one vote.
exactly.
Each member has one vote.
I didn't interrupt you. Could you please not interrupt me? I calmed down a little bit,
Thank you.
and if I did, if you felt that I got you a little upset over it, I apologize. But I don't believe it. The facts are the facts. If the facts aren't going to come out right, this board is never going to function right. We need to work together, but we need the facts to be right. You can't just make decisions one way or the other. You have to follow it. And you were here when that lawyer did say we could change the contract. You were here, sitting with us. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that whether it's state or federal, it's just a process for conducting a review and a contract discussion. That's all it is. It's one method among many that could be utilized to handle what needs to be done. And I had written myself a note, and Wayne already said it. There has not been a review done of Ms. Brennan since October of 2010. So all I'm asking for, and I know you think I'm being obstinate, but I'm not. I'm just asking for a process. And I asked for it a month ago, and I asked the chairman, could we have a meeting between then and now to discuss this? And she said no.
I said,
You
we
said
could discuss it, and we did discuss it at the last meeting.
And I asked you since then if we could, and you said no, and you said we'll discuss it at the next meeting, this one.
We have discussed it. Laura.
Can I just say, it's actually in my best interest, personally, that I have an evaluation that the board wants, so that I know what it is exactly what you want me to do, in the manner you want me to do it, like policies. I don't determine the policies, the board does. It's up to me to make sure that the policies get implemented. So it's in my interest to have the board come up with an evaluation process that works. Whether it be numbers, whether it be comments, whether it's a combination of both. But in the interest of time, we need to get this moving forward. And Ann did ask that we have a meeting prior to this. But you were away. I mean, it's summer, it's a bad time, people have different things going on. But it's in my best interest to have that. And the goals, Ann, that I planned on having for a separate meeting. Because that's something that we need to sit down and actually look at where we see us going. But that wasn't part of my is it something that I'm going to be evaluated on? Yes. Yes. But is it something that is part of this process right now? That's going to have to be for a separate meeting.
And Madam Chairman, may I respond? And I don't disagree with that. I'm saying goals going forward. Obviously, we're not going to do them now. We're going to set them. But I think it should be part of. I think it should be part of the process.
And that way, I know what you're measuring me on.
Exactly.
And I need to know that. Like federalization was a goal. That's something that we achieved. High performer was a goal. That's something that we achieved.
Right.
But I need to have measurable goals.
Tangible goals.
So that I know what it is you expect me to do, and we have to set a time frame that's reasonable for me to get the stuff done. And if I can't get it done within the time frame, I need to come back to the board and just say, we need to adjust it so that next year at this time, we're not going to be going through this.
Exactly.
You're going to be able to look at the goals I had and compare it to what I've actually accomplished.
And what should have been done prior,
Which should have been done prior.
and it wasn't.
Excuse me, she had her hand up.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
Okay.
Can we set up a special meeting just for this item? Let's go over it the way they want to do it, get this filibuster over.
Well, we can, or we can pass the contract as it is and then get the goals and stuff together for next year. But I can't make a motion,
I
so
think
we
we
have
have
to
to do
make,
something.
you've already got a
You have a motion
motion
on the table, you just
We
need to
have a
decide.
motion on the floor.
Yeah.
And I have a question on the motion, or the contract.
Yes.
I would like to see it only a 3-year contract if you guys are gonna vote on it. That's my opinion.
That's your opinion.
Right. That's absolutely right.
You were next.
So we can do it.
Oh, I'm sorry, are you done? I
Are you
didn't
done?
mean to interrupt you. Are you?
No, I'm all set as
Okay.
far as,
I was going to propose that we decide now what the time schedule was going to be between now and next month so that we can get this done with the next regular meeting.
I don't see anything, personally, now it's my turn. I don't see anything wrong with passing this contract as it is and then setting up a meeting to discuss it so that we have the form that we all really want is with all the goals and everything. I just can't see holding the contract up again.
Then, Madam Chairman, with all due respect, call for a motion on your vote. Call for a
We've
vote on
already
the
made a motion.
You didn't call for a vote on your motion.
I was just waiting to make sure
She
everybody
actually
discussed
let you
what they
talk.
wanted.
Yeah, go ahead.
All in favor of the motion to sign the contract as is?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
aye.
The motion passes.
Now,
They lose.
Now
we need we need a meeting now to discuss the goals and then the evaluation format. And that way I can have more time to figure out how other housing authority directors are evaluated. Like the one I gave you was actually Steve O'Rourke's from Providence. You know what I mean? And he gave a training at Narrow, and that's what you got. Is that the best way?
I think this is
I don't know, but that's something that you're gonna have to,
That's right, that's what the whole committee's gonna do.
the whole thing.
Yes.
And first of all, I want to say, I apologize about the phone, but I have called around and have to go somewhere. I'm waiting for information on that, and I apologize about the phone.
That's fine.
But anyways, all I'm, to me, in my opinion, which doesn't count for much, but in my opinion, the review and the contracting should be married together.
And they will be.
And they're not. That's my problem with this. I just.
It's not my problem.
And
It's not
because we
bad,
didn't
5
do
years.
evaluations the way they were set up to be done every year, because we didn't do that, we don't have that to comply with that, but the next time we will, because next year at this time, we'll be evaluating me based
Right,
upon.
yearly.
And if I may, just one, I wouldn't give anyone a 5-year contract. I just wouldn't do it. That's a long time.
It used to be.
Well,
Excuse me.
well, it was voted in as 5 years,
Put it
whether
on the
we
shirt.
agree or don't agree, it's
So you
done.
might have a massive heart attack tonight, and there you go.
Oh,
Don't.
anyways, all right.
That's done, you voted no, I voted no,
That's
that's
right.
what it is. The vote.
The next thing is the generators.
The generators, we have a contractor who has come in, and he's going to do specifications for us so that we can actually get quotes. So we've already purchased the generators and the pads that they sit on. Now we need a contractor to come in to dig the holes, to put them in. And we're going to need a contractor to provide us with the tanks that the gas goes in.
Yeah.
And so there'll be 2 separate deals. The tank purchase, the holes purchase. And then we'll
Can
go.
you got somebody that can do both?
Well,
You're saying
the person that's
different.
the person that provides the tank is going to be like an Osterman's, whereas they're not going to come out and dig the hole.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I know what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. It's 2 different. Having the holes dug is different than having the gas.
So you don't have somebody, you don't have per se a gas company that's gonna do the digging and the tanks?
No, because
You
I'm
just
going
have-
right, and I'm going to get quotes on both, because the dollar amount isn't going to be real big. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
As far as,
gotcha.
but I'm going to get a price on the tanks, find out exactly what size tanks we're required to have, get a price on the tanks, and then get a price on the digging of the hole, and then the hooking up of the,
Right,
okay?
yep.
So that's where we're at with generators.
Do you think we'll be having them in by winter?
I don't know, because I haven't done my spiel yet, but I don't know. Here,
Well,
yes.
Can we
Yes.
really focus to get it done before
But can
winter?
I just say that we have some other expenses that came up that were unplanned when we did the inspection at Packagug Village in the front. We do not have any emergency lighting in the hallways.
Right, but I understand that.
That's an expense. The state has to cover a portion of this generator bill for Packagug Village. So the state portion of that money is going to need, depending on how much it costs and how much the emergency lighting is more important than the generator, because the generator is only going to cover the community room. Whereas as of right now, I got to go out and buy the flashlights still.
Yeah, but still, I think they're both equally
But if we don't have the
problem
money,
that we
Wayne,
need to get it done. Well, is there, I don't know if you can look in the budget again and see if there's a place where we can take it out of that's
I got to find out how much it's going to cost first.
after that, or
Right.
come back to us and we can discuss whether we want to take it from here or there.
And I won't know until I know how much they're going to charge us for these different things.
Right. No.
But I need to, and in the meantime, I'm going to get flashlights for the front pack job, just in case.
You mean for
Batteries.
each person?
So that they have a light so they can see in the hallway.
See, over here, you have backup lights in the hallway. So if the power goes out, those emergency lights kick in and it lights the hallway. The back of package shop, the front section, the state does not have that. So when the power goes out, their hallway goes black. That's it. And
Right.
at the time they were built, it was to code. It was to code. Is it a good thing going forward? No. But are we in compliance with the code? Yes. So that's where we're at with that.
I want to explain again to all you people that we don't get any money from the state. The only, so that whatever we do for the state units is money that comes in for the rent from the residents. So we're really, our hands are tied as far as finances go. We have to be extremely careful using that money. And we can't take anything from federal for state, or vice versa. It has to be from federal funds for federal, state funds from no state funds, but the rents for people that are in the state units.
The good
But
part is,
we need to get these generators out in case of an emergency. I mean, you don't want to go have a problem in the wintertime not having the generators up, because it's going to be a disaster for not only the residents here, but the town, the emergency equipment, everything.
now we paid for half of the generator at the senior center. We put $4,500 into that generator that you have.
Okay.
Do they plan on using that? Or no?
You're talking about the one in the garage or the one outside?
All I know is we purchased,
They got one in the garage they just recently put in.
Oh,
so
just
that's probably
recently.
what it is.
okay, this
It's
wasn't
been a
recent.
few years.
Yeah, $4,500 that,
That must be the one they put in the new one they put in the garage a few years ago.
but the housing authority actually paid half of
yeah.
that bill. So do they plan on using that or no?
Oh, it's online. It's already online for emergencies.
Okay.
It goes.
Because the senior center.
It's all set. Senior center is all wired and everything
Okay.
for any emergency at all. So
And the only
Yes,
thing
it
the
is.
generator is going to cover is this building.
well, as long as we have something or somewhere that they can go if they need to.
Joyce.
This is going to be more complicated out here than up there.
Because of the fire road. We're going to have to dig up the fire road because the tank is going to have to go near building 1. And we're going to have to dig up the fire road to get the fuel to the tank.
To the thing.
So there is,
expensive.
it's a,
Well, all you can do is get prices and then we go from
And
there.
then we go from there.
And we'll know.
Well, if it's from here, can we ask the federal government to give us more money?
we don't need money on the federal side. That's not the problem. It's the state.
Alex?
I would ask the residents if they up there, because I think most of them have flashlights.
But we should be providing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should
But I
be
know
providing them, but we don't have lighting.
And also with the CERT group, I mean, they've got some flashlights that they give to the CERT members, because they got some of them were nice, but they're clunky, they're heavy.
We're talking just
Maybe.
It's a basic flashlight.
Go down to the dollar store, we get how many you need?
59
Then you gotta buy the batteries,
plus the batteries.
Good dollar store.
So it'd be
the flashlight.
You can have
118.
2 cents
Ain't got
batteries,
nice
I think,
ones,
so
right,
that they can
Bob?
change the batteries.
So that's going to be our quick fix. And the electrician is looking into
And a bag.
the cost of putting emergency lights in the hallways up there. And the back of package shot is fine. It's just the state in the front because of the age of the building. And we don't have emergency lights at Auburn Heights either. Just so you know. They have a little plastic paper. See how that illuminates automatically?
Yeah.
They have like just a sign, so they need to have illuminated
Yes.
at Auburn Heights.
Okay with you? With that? Okay, bond bill.
Do you want to
She's not done yet.
Do I want to what?
talk about it?
I sent Ms. Brennan an email on July 22nd. I ran in, had occasion to run into Senator Moore up at the senior center, and he told me that there was a bond bill that had just come out of committee that would provide funding for state housing for repairs or for needs, to address needs. And he suggested to me, I don't know how long this is going to take or how long there was to utilize this, but he said to me, you know, I need, get me a letter as quick as you can before I have to go to the Ways and Means Committee to identify what needs you may have on the state housing side, so I'll have something to back me up when I go in and ask for funds. So he told me that on July 22nd. So I immediately emailed Lori about it, and I don't know what transpired from there.
That's,
I had talked to Lori about the same thing. The day I talked to her, she was gonna get in contact with Doreen from the Selectman's office, that works for Mike Moore. And it's right there.
they actually sent this over. This is the bill. The Senate passed, does that mean it passed in
The House didn't pass it yet. I
So-
called for this.
Senate did it, House didn't.
And when, would you please tell them you do want a copy of the House bills?
Okay.
Because it said the House just appointed its members this week.
Okay, so I'll call her tomorrow and let her know to send us the House version as well.
Right.
Okay.
That way we can, and we should have that before, so we can vote on it as soon as possible. What we want to do.
Perhaps you might want to consider, I mean, I would think we would all be in favor of any funds that we could get from the state to do repairs. I know you mentioned some roofs, I don't know what else, but I think we should, I would make a motion that we ask the director to compile a list of what the needs are and get this off to the senator ASAP.
And the House.
All right, so I'm going to get the House version,
Yeah.
and then,
But he indicated that he would be going into the Ways and Means Committee, and he'd like a letter of what our needs are. That's what he said to me. Get me a letter of what your needs are, so I have something to back myself up.
so I'll put together a letter of needs.
So that's my, yeah, I'd like to see us communicate with him.
Probably to
ASAP.
both.
Yeah. So I'll be both of
Both
us.
sides.
Yeah,
Right.
I know.
Right. So I expand my motion to say, send the senator a letter and send Representative Frost a letter too.
And this is only going to affect our state
Correct.
housing.
Right, state housing.
But if we could turn around and get roofs, we need them everywhere,
Absolutely. So
just with the roofs alone.
let's, to me,
No, it's a good thing.
put together your
Just gotta
list
make
and
sure we
let's
get it done.
get it off to them.
But if we don't put a lot of things on the list, if it's just the roofs, that's a huge help right there, because
Right.
that's going to be our biggest expense.
Right.
Well, I'd add a few more things in here too.
Yeah, it's like the,
And if you can expound upon that.
generator.
That's what he said.
I told her that, she said,
But maybe if maybe if you write a little, just a little
Yeah, just a-
explanation as to why
The
these
roofs
needs are
and-
so,
Well, you know what, I could explain that we don't have any emergency lighting in our elderly.
There you go.
That's
Maybe they would find
And
that.
they'd be like, are you kidding?
no.
So that's my motion.
Can we have a second, please?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It is carried. Okay, now, I think that was the last thing on the agenda, which means we now can open the floor to citizens' comment again for 20 minutes. That's the limit.
If you need it.
If we need it. And 3 minutes apiece is the limit according to our new policy. Okay?
Thought it was 5. I thought it was 5.
When's the next
No,
meeting?
on the second part is the new policy. The first part is
It's 5
minutes, and the second part is 3 minutes. Okay?
And anybody who can, Mr. Chairman, anybody can request a copy of the new policy too for citizens' comment, now that it's been voted.
Okay.
I think she had something first, and then you can speak, okay?
Does it have to be in relation to
again,
this?
Because this is falling
Barbara
under
Guimond from
TV land,
Pactuck Village. Are you laughing at me, Laurie?
No.
Does it have to be in relation to this, what we just discussed?
No,
Okay.
anything you want to make a comment
One of my concerns, and it doesn't have to be my building, it's not involving my building, but several buildings along the side have a lot of the moths and bugs on the porches in the back. And I think it stems from the bushes and the trees that are close to the buildings. my building, somebody does it all the time and nobody's gonna do it for her. Yes.
Okay, we had somebody in here last week doing trees. We had somebody in here today doing the bushes. We're gonna have the bushes treated for bugs everywhere.
Yeah.
We're gonna trim back the shrubs the way they're supposed to be trimmed back. And we're gonna have the trees, an arborist is actually cutting our trees, which is a professional tree guy. So the power washing is scheduled for here. So they're gonna power wash the buildings, that gets rid of the spiders, that gets rid of the mold and the mildew. He's starting out here on Monday. He gave us a price for the back of Packagug, and he hasn't scheduled it yet because he's gonna do here first. He gave us the best price. He's already done Pine Brook Court because that was identified to be the worst. Auburn Heights has already been done. This is next, and then he's going to the back of PV. So that has been already decided. Seal coating, this property and Packagug are gonna be seal coated. That's already been decided, it just hasn't been scheduled because that's not gonna be done till after the power washing is done. Do you know what I mean? We have to do things systematically. So yes, the trees are gonna be cut back. Yes, the shrubs are gonna be pruned and squirted for bugs.
I think it's been done somewhat already down in the back here. We have a big one in the back. The branches come to my back bedroom window. If they could trim that back, I'd be happy.
And Steve, in answer to your question, that we're gonna put on the agenda for the next meeting. The board just hasn't decided when the next.
When is that thing?
They haven't decided it yet. Okay?
Yes.
I just
I'm sorry. He was next.
I just want a copy of the agenda, the top.
I'm sorry. I can't.
Susan, policy.
You know what?
Okay.
I'm gonna give that to all the residents.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna give it to all the residents and, yeah,
Don't change your mind.
no, I'm gonna give it to all the residents.
And my last question is, in the wintertime, speaking of generators, most often where I live, I have a lady that is on oxygen. So every time we lose our power,
Oh, jeez.
I have a fluorescent camp light with fluorescent lights in it. So I put it in the hallway because she can't see and she's walking around with a cord or wrapped around the leg, and I have to get on it every single time, and I have to help her, you know, adjust her oxygen. She panics because the oxygen eventually will run down. It's scary. The plugs in the hallway used to work, so I don't know why the plug in the hallway would work when we would lose our power. And plug her oxygen into.
Because the generator, there isn't any source of electricity.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the backup lights come on because of the battery system.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes they don't.
Last time we didn't have any.
So it's scary because you've got people on the second floor, but for this particular lady on oxygen as well as other people.
But Sandy, it's not assisted living.
I know.
Her family is responsible for her.
I
understand what you're saying.
I've
but
tried
her
to address
family-
that many times.
Her family is responsible for her.
Does the office have a list of people that are on oxygen?
Yes.
Because we always have the fire department there every time because her leader is, you know.
I think it was the kid.
Are you saying there is lights there, but they don't work when the power
Sometimes
comes off anymore?
sometimes when we lose our power, our backup lights go on, and then sometimes when we lose our power, we have absolutely no lighting. This whole complex, Stoneville, has no lighting. I mean, we could all it's just pitch black.
Is anybody
Is
looking
there
for a
something-
Candles.
So for me to get down the stairs to help this woman, or you know, we all need to, you know, look out for each other.
I've been there
Well,
for
the
many
backup
times.
lights should go on.
Well, not all, we lose them
They
a lot in
don't
the winter.
always.
We lose them.
Have you,
Well,
has anybody
then
put
you
in a
better check
complaint,
the
let the
batteries.
office know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but the backup lights run by us or the residents?
By us.
By us, so why don't we go and check the
Periodically,
batteries
we'll
and
check
make
the
sure they're all,
batteries. They do.
they're all
Because you
right?
know when you buy a battery, you don't know what the shelf
Oh,
life
no, I
is
understand that,
on the
but,
battery.
Yeah.
but now that you know they're not working, you can go
Right.
home and fix them.
Right.
If people tell us there's something wrong, we can address it.
Yeah,
But we're not
Yeah.
gonna have, like, the parking lot lights, it's gonna still be dark.
Oh, yeah,
Whether
yeah.
we have a generator or not, because the only thing the generator is gonna do is provide minimal, for this building.
Absolutely.
That's it. So that all the tenants have a key to this building,
Come on, yeah.
you can access it yourself.
Yeah.
But that's so that we'll have heat, the refrigerator will still work, the stove will work, the microwave will work.
Maybe we should just do like sporadic, maybe a little more sporadic inspections of in the wintertime, storm weather, the backup lights to make sure the batteries haven't run,
Okay.
gone low or.
Now, they should work because they were all tested
I know that.
last month.
Right, now let's hope this wintertime they still work when we lose that
But
power.
we'll test them again.
Right. I think.
I mean, all it involves is pushing a button, see if it comes on. But,
Can we be taught how to put a battery in it?
no.
All you can do is get a hold of the office
Yeah, I'm just,
and
well,
let them
on
know that it's
weekends,
out.
on weekends, if they go out,
Well,
Is
there's
somebody
still
on
somebody on call all the time.
And it shouldn't be both hallways. It should be, if you lose the back hallway, you should still have the front.
we've lost both.
Well, then then we need to check the batteries more often.
We've lost both, and I've actually seen all these units without lighting.
Yeah.
Many times, yeah, when we've had wintertime, when we've had storms, yeah. Power outages throughout the town of Auburn, yeah.
All right. Is there anybody else that wants to say anything? Yes, sir.
I was just going back to the generators. What's that second generator by the garage for?
That's for the maintenance garage.
Oh, okay.
So that if they need to get in there,
Is theirs working?
no,
No?
it has no fuel. So we're gonna have a big hole back there for where their fuel's gonna go to.
Anybody else have anything they want to say?
I just want to express something that I'm very disappointed in not having any residents beside myself come up, having heard several issues from them, telling them about where the meeting is and the time, telling them also that if they don't come, don't complain to me.
I would suggest that our next meeting be held at Packagug,
Want to do that?
That would be good.
Sounds good to me.
so that we have a chance to
Sure.
go from
No,
one
I
place
like
to the
that.
other, so that everybody feels welcome.
I think
I
it's a
don't
great idea.
have,
Okay.
excuse me, I can't guarantee that I can be at the next one because I tutor, but I really appreciate being able to be here.
You're welcome anytime.
Thank you.
Anytime there's a meeting, it's an open meeting. It's open for all residents and all people in town if they want to come.
Oh, okay.
It's an open meeting.
People need to be responsible. If you have a right, take it to the right source.
Right.
Don't say, who can we go above Laurie? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the next meeting going to be the first Tuesday in September?
That's what I was just going to suggest. I was just waiting for it.
So I make a motion that we set our next meeting at, I think it's the 3rd. We set our next meeting for Tuesday, September 3rd at 3:30 in the community room at Packagug Village.
At what time?
3:30.
Tuesday the 3rd?
I did. She said, who seconded it? So I said, I did.
The first Tuesday in September.
It's right after Labor Day.
We didn't make a motion, did we?
Yeah, you made it.
Wait, that's September.
September 3rd at 3:30 at Packagug.
A motion for September 3rd.
Well, I don't know, that's what the selectmen do, so I don't know if you need to.
Don't worry about this one. Don't worry about
We
this
don't
one.
have our own rules.
It's so true.
I thought you meant.
That's all right, we want to do. That's all right, we
We can get
understand.
back to the first Tuesday of every month.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be helpful.
And perhaps we could have every other meeting, every other meeting.
At Packagug.
Packagug and then here.
Just like you said, everywhere you want to go.
We don't need to vote. Well, you made a motion, she made a motion.
Well, you made a motion to do Packagug, so if you go Packagug, you make a motion with somewhere
No,
else.
no, no, what I'm saying is, she made a motion to set our meeting for Tuesday, September 30th at 3:30. Is that your motion, Ian? Okay. Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. We're all set.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Oh.
All in favor?
Did you say it again?